In today's video, I want to share with you my initial thoughts and feelings about the M4 iPad Pro. I actually have it right here. Now, typically, I keep my iPad mini here because I monitor what my camera is seeing with my iPad. So I've got it set up the same way. The only difference is that because it is a 13-inch, you can actually see it right here. First and foremost, I want to start with a few things that I just don't like. For example, the size change 10.9 to 11 inch, 12.9 to 13. Now I know you might be like, what do you mean? Well, the size and weight is amazing. It's nice to have the weight reduction and everything. But where this sucks is people that bought the M1 iPad Pro with their Magic Keyboard, or anybody that bought an M2 iPad Pro with a Magic Keyboard, the pencil, now they're just left out to dry like a wet towel. Now, had this been more of a size change like 10.9 to 12 inch and 12.9 to 14 inch, that would have been justifiable because that's a big enough of a size change to where you're gaining an 1.1 inches overall in the size of the iPad across the board. And so, therefore, of course, the Magic Keyboard is not going to be able to work. But a zero point 0.1 inch change, and now anybody that had the previous iPads, they just can't go out and buy the new Magic Keyboard and just be happy because trust me, although this is much faster than those, there isn't a way that you can convince me that the M1 or the M2 are not going to be able to do the things that this one can. And again, same thing goes for those people that had an M1 or M2 and they were using Procreate to do all their drawings and illustrations. And now they really like the new features of the pencil, but guess what? They have to buy the new iPad, the new pencil, and if they are using a keyboard, then they have to buy the new Magic Keyboard. That's a lot to ask of someone to just completely ditch their hardware and just start again from scratch. Imagine for a second if you had to do that with a MacBook, that every year or every couple years when you wanted a new MacBook, guess what? Your old monitor no longer works. Your Magic Keyboard's not going to work anymore. Your Magic Trackpad's not going to work. Your hard drives that you have are no longer going to work. Imagine that. Like that would be horrible. So to do that to iPad Pro users, I feel like that's just not cool. So right when I unboxed this iPad Pro, I right off the bat could notice that the display was beautiful, but what really hit me was the reduction in the weight and how thin this thing is. Why? Because I am from the camp of people that just likes to hold an iPad like this. Like if I can engage with any application in a comfortable way, whether that's with just touch inputs or the Apple Pencil, that is my preferred way of using an iPad. Don't get me wrong, I love this new Magic Keyboard, and this definitely gives you that more of a laptop feeling. But I personally love interacting with an iPad in that sense. And one of the things that's always been a downside is that they've been a little bit on the heavier side for me to just like comfortably hold. But when I took this out and I was holding the iPad mini in one hand with the smart cover, and then I'm holding the iPad Pro, I know it's not a direct comparison, but this is the iPad that I use. And so when I held both of them, this weighs almost as much as this. So it was very comfortable for me to use just by placing it in my lap and interacting with it, whether that was with touch input or pencil input. In just a few days that I've had this with me, I've already done a few test video edits. I've already connected it here at my desktop setup via Stage Manager, and everything is working as it should. So as I continue to play with it, I want to know, what is it that you're looking for? Like, what is it that you would want to know when it comes to this iPad? So that way, when I do my final video, I can share all those thoughts with you, including my own, because this either will or will not work for me. And so far, it's been going good. Everything's positive. I've been able to edit a bunch of clips on here. And this video that we're recording right now, by the time that you see it, will have been entirely done on the iPad Pro. Now, one thing I've really enjoyed is pairing this with the new Magic Keyboard. I didn't never like the previous Magic keyboards because they just didn't give me that laptop feeling. This, with its aluminum finish, gives me that laptop feeling. Like so many times, I had to tell myself in the last couple days that, wow, I am working off of an iPad because it was that nice. Like the keys are really nice, the finish is really nice. Although it was very annoying in the beginning for me to just balance this because the iPad, unlike a MacBook, is top heavy because all the internals are in your display. And so it naturally wants to fall over. So what I had to do was initially I kept having the iPad like want to tip over, but initially, I figured out a way to like sit in a comfortable manner while balancing this. So it works a lot better on desktop. So like if you put it on a tabletop here or a counter, that's going to work a lot better as opposed to your lap. But it's not that you can't make it work in your lap. Now, one thing I would say that you need to be careful with when it comes to this keyboard is put a glass screen protector on your iPad because when you close this, right, you have glass touching aluminum, and that's not really a good match. So let's say you have like a couple crumbs on the keyboard and you don't notice and you just quickly close it down. That's not going to be good. So find a way to protect the glass. Now, speaking of the glass, I didn't go for the nano texture. Actually, I've noticed that the reflections are not so bad after all. And plus, for nano texture, like on my iPad mini, you'll notice I have a glass screen protector, and this is a matte one. Now, the company that makes this on Amazon, they don't have one available for the iPad. That's why I just bought like a regular standard one for now. But as soon as they have one available, that's what I'm gonna put because I don't want to just pay Apple more for their nano texture, and I'd rather have the option. Plus, on this, if you notice, like the side bezels are also underneath that nano texture, so that way it just looks uniform. Because if you look at the iPad Pros that have the nano texture, it's only on the screen part, and the bezels are shiny, which really throws me off. I personally don't like it. You might, and if that works for you, that's great. Now, I do want to touch up on the display. It's absolutely beautiful. I know I just slightly touched up on it, but one of the things I love about my MacBook is that it has such a good display. It has ProMotion, so colors look really good. So if you are doing any kind of creative work, illustration, it really helps to have a good display. And here with the M4 iPad Pro, you are not going to be disappointed whatsoever. Also, lastly, the camera got moved over to the center, which is nice because when you do take video calls, instead of you looking off to the side, which is a problem that you'd have with something like the iPad mini or any iPad that has the camera off to the left, in order to look directly into the camera, it looks like you're not looking at the person that you're talking to, which is really frustrating. So having the camera up there is a definite plus. As for the camera on the back, like it's great, but I don't ever use a camera like the iPad mini even has a camera, and I don't think I've ever even taken a single photo with it. So that's not even something that's important to me. Now, what does actually matter to me is whether or not this is going to work like my MacBook Pro. Because if it does, then I can promise you my MacBook Pro will be gone and the iPad Pro will be its replacement, and I will continue to use it going forward. But do keep in mind, that has to be a smooth transition. Like, I don't want to be one of those people. I know there's a lot of people that do this, they find workarounds for stuff and they just make it work. I'm not going to be one of those. I need it to be simple and efficient because, like my video edits, if you've seen any videos on my channel, I keep things pretty simple. Okay. I don't do anything fancy. So if I can easily do all that stuff here with the updates that have come with Final Cut or even LumaFusion, then yeah, I don't have a problem transitioning over. It's not going to be an issue for me whatsoever. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you watching. Let me know any thoughts that you have or any questions that you have so that when I do the second video, I can get back to you on those. Thanks for your time. Take care, and I will see you, like always, in the next video.